Talk about a master plan. I mean, first of all, I'm glad alone that Pixies didn't end up throwing Erwin under the bus, and this was all a plan with him and Erwin all along. So I'm glad that Pixies is a true fucking vet and a true soldier. He ride or die, because in the end, he was even going to confess his crimes and everything. So I'm really glad that Pixies turned out to be a fucking true G of this shit. And overall, this chapter seemingly is the conclusion of this political arc of humanity versus humanity. So while it seems complicated, very simple chapter. In essence, Erwin was on trial, him and Pixies devised a plan, and ultimately their plan came to fruition to find out if the government actually gave a fuck about the people. And this kind of really does show that Erwin and Pixies truly care about the people, because their whole goal in all this wasn't like to just overthrow them or break free and kill the king or anything like that. It was to honestly see if the government cares about the people, especially on Pixie's part, because he was like, if he truly cares about the people and they go to help the people or whatnot, then I'll confess that this is bullshit. This fake Titan invasion, which, by the way, I was a bit bummed because I thought that this was going to be a full-on, like, oh my god, they're already back, but it would be too early for them to already have a ride back, because we saw them in chapter, I believe it was like 50.5 or something like that. They were like laying on the wall and shit because they were tired from running, or it was 51.5, something like that. So seemingly it's been only a short amount of time since Reiner and Bertolt have left. Also, I would be wondering, so in the end, was it that Ymir bought the big one? What happened to her? So definitely for them to have arrived so soon, it would have just been a little bit weird. I would have liked something a little bit different, but I'm glad that it was just all a ruse to begin with. And basically the government, as we thought, don't give a fuck about the people. They were ready to kill half the fucking nation just to seal up the walls and shit. So fucked up government ultimately overthrown by some decent people, and order is restored. The survey corps is no longer fugitives. So we got a lot accomplished in this chapter, and seemingly humanity versus humanity is no more, because the people now know the bullshit that was going on in the government. They know that the king is a fraud. He's not even supposed to be on that fucking throne, which, by the way, the king looks old as fuck and just like not even in his right mind. He's like passing out while sitting on the chair. So either he's not even there and they're just using him as a prop to control the world, or he just really doesn't give a fuck. And also seemingly this is going to free Eren and Historia from being captured. Eren looking like he was on some ace shit, tied up right there. I was like, goddamn, poor Eren. And ultimately this chapter concludes the political aspects of, you know, humanity fighting against each other, this civil war, this silent civil war, so to speak, and it did good shit on that aspect. So now we can focus on the threat at hand, which is outside those walls, not within these walls, although there's still a couple of people lingering around. Like, what's going to happen with Kenny? Is Kenny going to just start attacking? Is this a whole separate brigade that follows under not the king and not this government, but their own set of laws? So it still makes you wonder, is there still going to be more fighting under humanity, or is this truly it, with the king basically being overthrown in a sense? And how are they going to do it? Are they going to have immediately Historia come in and basically say, no, now you're sitting on the throne, we're going to tell the people the truth? And I'm glad that fucking asswipe decided to run Hanji's story, because if it wasn't for him running Hanji's story, they wouldn't get the faith of the people, and the people would just be looking at them like, oh, they're traitors. But now that the media has it out there, they basically portrayed the truth, which is good. And ultimately this chapter finally finishing up all this stuff and getting back to what is best about Attack on Titan. We can hopefully focus on getting to the basement and finding out just what the fuck is in there. Like, what did Eren's father hide all those years ago? Because I believe the name of this chapter as well was The Final Curtain. So seemingly the final curtain on this political war that we've been having amongst each other. So yeah, solid conclusion overall. There's still small details to pan out. Again, who's going to be the figurehead to rule overall? And if that is Historia, is she going to slap up Levi in vengeance for what he did? And I'm just glad once again that Erwin didn't die, because it felt like he's been set up to be humanity's hero against the Titans. And if he would have been killed off by humanity itself, that would have just felt fucked up and wrong. Like, I want him to go out like a hero. I think he deserves to go out fighting one of the most strongest Titans and leading his brigade into there to defeat them. And with all that being said, I'm gonna give this chapter 7.5 out of 10. Good finale. Glad we're over with this, and seemingly we just got maybe some remnants of people, but for the most part we can focus on the task at hand, killing these fucking Titans. Let me know what you guys think. First of all, did you think Eren was going to bite the big one? I was kind of like, it would be very ironic that the man that wants to protect humanity gets slayed by humanity, but I just feel like he's meant for something so much bigger, and at the same time, it's like, this guy is one of the most ruthless motherfuckers. He needs to have a bigger part in this story than just dying off at the hands of these people. And now that the government seemingly is going to be overthrown, what do you think is going to happen with Kenny? What do you think is going to happen with those people that were basically like these violent motherfuckers? Are they going to have to turn themselves in as well? And are they going to put Historia on the throne immediately? A lot of questions still to be answered, but ultimately, again, we're done with this part of the story. And your overall thoughts of the chapter. What did you think about this finale? But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that would be awesome. I'm Finette World, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Talk about a master plan. I mean, first of all, I'm glad alone that Pixies didn't end up throwing Erwin under the bus, and this was all a plan with him and Erwin all along. So I'm glad that Pixies is a true fucking vet and a true soldier. He ride or die, because in the end, he was even going to confess his crimes and everything. So I'm really glad that Pixies turned out to be a fucking true G of this shit. And overall, this chapter seemingly is the conclusion of this political arc of humanity versus humanity. So while it seems complicated, very simple chapter. In essence, Erwin was on trial. Him and Pixies devised a plan, and ultimately their plan came to fruition to find out if the government actually gave a fuck about the people. And this kind of really does show that Erwin and Pixies truly care about the people, because their whole goal in all this wasn't like to just overthrow them or break free and kill the king or anything like that.